Yo, so last night there was a video, not a video, there was a blog post posted about me, about a cartoon that I drew a couple years ago, and I'm showing you this cartoon here. Now, this is a video response to this. Now, anybody who doubts I'm Hapa, here's a picture of my grandmother and me when I was an infant. My grandmother, as you can see, that's a Chinese woman. Okay, my father is white, my mother is Chinese. So, first of all, from what I'm aware of, this article was strongly criticizing the so-called Asian men that are critiquing white men, Asian women relationships. But to be honest, do I look like an Asian man? Full Asian man? I'm half Asian. Okay. Another thing is that I'm aware that Celeste Ng, who is the author of Everything I Never Told You, was involved with this fight. People seem to forget that Asian men always comment on Reddit and on my website that they had no idea that Hapas suffered this kind of ailment, and it's only obvious to ourselves. So pretty much nobody can even believe it, not even Asian men. So why would an Asian man make a cartoon like that? I mean, never in history has an Asian man done anything like that. Then I show up about 2 years ago and I just have such a prolific web presence within 2 years, and just magically I'm not responsible. The cartoon itself is actually not even, the cartoon itself makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense, especially when you consider that the vast majority of half Asians look very Asian. The minority, I would say, like myself, look 50-50, and I would say the extreme minority pass as white. I would say that I don't pass as white because I get routine comments on how I look Asian from virtually every white person I meet. They will always say something like I look either Central Asian to I look Asian to I blend in Asia. Now, as the idea of the cartoon is that Asian women as a whole, I'm talking about the entire entity of Asian women, I'm talking about the collective group of them, because of the culture within Asian culture, within the sphere of Asian culture that seems to highly value white men over Asian women. White men over Asian men. What that does is it's creating an atmosphere. I'm talking about a global universal atmosphere that seems to value white men, and I'm talking about the basic bottom level to mid-range to high level white men are seen as being superior to any other group of men, and this is inherent and built into the entire structure of Asian culture. And I'm talking, I want to make this even. I would go so far as saying even this is the feminine part of Asian culture seems to idealize white men. And no matter what these women say, this is the truth. This is the fundamental truth, and you have to be around them to see that it has nothing to do with feminism, especially when guys like my dad are not feminists. Guys like my dad are extremely racist guys who just love bashing, white women, for example, or bashing non-white people. So the zeitgeist that Asian women themselves, like Nikki, and I'm sure she's done this in the past, or other writers like Deanna Faye or Celeste Ng, where they bash and they constantly bash and they refuse to stop doing this, bashing Asian men. They simply do not seem to get it into their heads that society does not differentiate between the full Asian men that they bash and the half Asian sons. It doesn't. Okay, there's no, you can't go 50-50 on this. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't go 50-50. You can't pit one side of yourself against the other. You can't do it like that. You'll drive yourself crazy, and that's what I did. I drove myself crazy. I would cut my hair so short so there would be lighter color, and just, I don't know what else to say. It's insane. It's completely insane. And you can see this insanity is seeping down into the bloodstream of Hapas as a whole, which is explaining the high rates of suicide and mental illness. Are they going to deny this? Are they going to say this is a troll? I'm a troll because I'm saying this? These are my living experiences. And the idea of the cartoon is it's a circle. So this is a deliberate reference to a circle, a cyclical pattern, in which I'm not talking specifically about individuals. I'm talking about the entire zeitgeist that is presented by not only our parents, but all of her extended friends and all of the I would say that the Asian female collective, which creates a cycle of time where the behavior of women in the present, when they say I don't date Asian men, causes half Asian sons in the future to develop low self-esteem. It's very crazy. Time is a flat circle. Everything happens at once. So the behavior of the younger generation is actually affecting the children of older Asian women, and they do nothing to stop it. They do nothing to stop it. And that cartoon was among a number of other cartoons I did. I own up to those cartoons. I own up to the fact that at one point I was extremely, extremely disturbed and not in my right mind. But how could I not be? How could we as a universal group not be when we have nobody to help us? Nobody to help us at all. And the real question is, do you really expect this to go over completely without a hitch and more people like me aren't going to pop up? Is that what you expect is going to happen? More people like me are not going to pop up? As good as a background that I come from, as good as a background that Kelly Baltazar came from, or Elliot Rodger came from, you think more people like me are not going to appear? Because the confusion that we face and the demonization and like the other dripping hatred that seems to manifest itself in the form of white worship or white excusism, right? Where white men in particular are seen as perfect. You really think that people are not gonna go down the path that I went? You'll be lucky if people are able to get as far as I did and able to put two and two together. That's the truth of it. You'll be lucky. It makes no sense. My mother was disappointed and depressed, not least with me, for not meeting the expectations of her sacrifice, and constantly told me she wished I had not been born. My father was disappointed he couldn't treat me the way he treated my mother without a fight. I have self-harmed, attempted suicide, and have an ongoing eating disorder, anxiety, and depression. There is little more I can say on this, but I'll leave it there. I am very, very interested to know how many Eurasians, particularly those living in predominantly Caucasian cultures, have had difficult or similar experiences. I had a difficult or similar experience. So first, I'm going to point out in your comment here, and you can zoom out. Let me zoom in for you so you know I'm not making this up, huh? You think I'm making this up? Oh, come on. So, my parents fundamentally disrespected one another and endlessly fought. Sounds exactly like my parents. They endlessly fought from the time I was born to the time I came out. They endlessly fought. Okay? The reason for this is because they were culturally incompatible, and I can see from Celeste's website, she is very she doesn't look very happy. Celeste, you don't look very happy, are you? I mean, what's the reason there? And the reason for this is because they were just like, these relationships aren't based on love, they're based on self-hatred. That's what it is. My mom dyed her hair and she wore colored contacts, you know, and she just, at the end of her life, she was like totally unrecognizable, because like in my mind, I don't even know what my mother looks like, because I just don't remember what she was. She was dyeing her hair and all this shit. Okay, so let me continue. Another thing that these young women have failed to mention, I'm not going to say young women, these women have failed to mention, is that my mother and many like her explicitly seek out tall white men with blue eyes. And there are online dating statistics on this where they specifically seek out tall blue-eyed white men, and they say no Asian men, because they want integration in whiter kids. They want integration in whiter kids. They want integration in whiter kids. They specifically seek out white men. So how are you going to explain this? How are you going to explain that?